Hello everyone, my name is Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network, and we are here celebrating 51 years of Sun and Fun. So exciting, we're definitely turning up the fun, and I have the honor and pleasure today of speaking with and having Karen Kalishek. You are the chair of the National Association of Flight Instructors, better known to pilots as NAFI, and thank you, Karen, for being here. It's so lovely to have you here. So, Karen, I always like to start when we have a guest on. Everybody's got a story. How did you get into aviation, and what is your story?
Well, actually, I'm not a career aviator, like many people, so
Really?
I'm fairly new. I didn't get my pilot certificate until I was age 50. So my intention was to be a recreational pilot and simply have
That's
fun,
amazing.
like many people do. It turned into a fourth career. Prior to that, I was a senior vice president in banking, and I had my own international consulting company for
Right.
20 years, and I taught graduate school, and I chaired programs at a college. And I enjoyed all of those, but you know what? Flight instructing is the calling. It's really the calling. Yes.
Well, and you know what? We also share another interest. We were talking a little bit before. I'm also a professor as well, so I'm a teacher. Tell me a little bit, how did you then, was it your own flight experience, your own experience with your flight instructor that led you to NAFI, or how did you get involved?
Well, actually, I decided, again, I was just going to be a recreational pilot,
Right.
but within 1 month, like many of us, that bug bites and a bit hard.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have to do this, so what am I going to do? And I thought, the fit would be teaching, because of my
Right.
teaching background.
Right.
I always loved to train and teach people, and I thought, flight instruction, that's it.
That's it.
Now, airlines came calling. They certainly have come calling
Right.
because they've been looking for people. But I said, no, I am, if you would, a career flight instructor. I'm actually a pilot examiner at this point, because
That's
once you
awesome.
start,
Yeah.
it's a progression, just like any other career. You get more and more involved. You volunteer more and more.
Awesome.
Before you know it, people are knocking on your door. We'd
Right.
like you to chair this, run this,
Right.
head this, and then there was an opportunity to apply for a position on the NAFI board, so I became a board member back in 2018,
Okay.
and this is my 4th year as chair now.
That's awesome. Well, we are thrilled to have you here, and I do want to mention and thank you for being here, because our viewers, and they are international, so Florida Aviation Network, we have an international audience, but the viewers that are watching today, you can actually earn wings credits thanks to Karen and her willingness to share her time with us today. So at the end of the program, there is going to be a code that it will show after the credits. You can go ahead and scan that code, and you will get wings credits for this program. So that is awesome. I wanted to go ahead and start the conversation a little bit about, so you went through COVID and all of that. We see trends in pilot certifications. Where are we now, Karen? Where do you see us, and where are we trending now?
Yeah, so at this point, there's been a slight decrease. Pilot certifications went down 3% last year. Now that's not a lot, but it's still over 15,000. You know, pilot hiring, which many people know, hiring at the airlines is starting to, what they're saying is normalizing, but it really was a 34% decrease compared to this period last year, which seems like a lot to folks because there was such a resurgence of training and interest in flying, which is absolutely wonderful for not only career pilots, but for general aviation as well. There was just, the word went out and people realized aviation is a really exciting thing to do.
Now let me ask you, it seems like a pendulum. Where do you see it shifting? Do you see this? Do you see? You said that there's a decrease right now. Are we on the uptake?
Well, we can expect, as the airlines have said, which is a big driver of people wanting to do it as a career, that they're looking at normalizing. There's always going to be retirements, and so there's always going to be opportunities, but probably not at this, as soon as you receive your minimum hours, you can be hired by an airline.
I got you. Okay, excellent, excellent. Now, this is one of the things with Florida Aviation Network, and of course with NAFI, and I know from my own flight instructors, first thing we always talked about from the onset was safety, 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 safety. And I know that that was absolutely, and Ben and I had a conversation about that, you know, not only keeping yourself safe from harm, but everyone else. So I guess the question I had is I wanted to ask you from your perspective, as an examiner, as a flight instructor, what do you see as some of the greatest causes of GA accidents? What have you seen?
Well, actually the primary cause of fatal accidents, which is obviously the most important thing that we want to eliminate, is loss of control. And it's been that way for decades. I actually sit on the General Aviation Joint Safety Committee, which is actually on 8 different committees, boards, et cetera.
Do you sleep? I have to ask.
Occasion.
Okay, I had to ask. Okay, you were a very busy lady.
It's part of the I'm safe checklist.
I'm safe.
It has to be done.
Exactly. It has to be done. But that's why I asked. I'm like, oh, wait, she never sleeps. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So the GAJSC, which its goal is to reduce fatal accidents. So we have been trending more than a 10% decrease every year. So the fatal accident rate has gone down substantially, but the single greatest cause is loss of control.
How do you address that? How do we address that as an aviation community, as instructors, as teachers? How do you address that?
Well, there's a lot of publications that go out. NAFI actually has our primary vision is safer pilots. So that's our bottom line, safer pilots through excellence in flight instruction. So obviously we actually have over 1,000 different items we offer for access that promotes safety. In fact, NAFI has more content on the FASafety.org website than any other provider.
Excellent. And again, say it's the FASafety.org that anyone can access.
And we actually put out as a public service a monthly live broadcast, which is also archived and wings eligible, called Mentor Live. Anyone, over 25,000 pilots will be watching this from over 100 countries. People tune in.
Really?
We actually have members in 47 countries now.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah. So and that is, if you go to our website, nafimentor.org, you'll see even on the home page you can register for the most recent and then access the archived Mentor Live concepts. Now this month's is very interesting because it addresses that loss of control issue we were just talking about.
That's what I was going to ask you, okay?
Yeah, so for loss of control, hopefully what's going to help is installing angle of attack indicators in aircraft. So more than 10 years ago, it was identified that could potentially be a very useful tool. The Air Force has been using AOA indicators for more than 50 years. The first year the Air Force installed it, their fatal rate went down 50%. The second year it went down another 50%. Not to zero, but 50% of the decrease. So in fact, I did a presentation here on angle of attack indicators, and I'm on an angle of attack working group.
That's fantastic.
So this is something that'll be coming to cockpits, and it's not at all technology offsetting poor skills. It's an enhancement, and pilots get trained on it, and it's similar to how GPS can give you more situational awareness. So it's an enhancement that, if installed, and the FAA actually in just December of last year put out a safety information bulletin recommending all GA aircraft equip, calibrate, and get trained on AOA indicators. So this is something that'll be coming to cockpits near you in the near future, one would expect.
That's extraordinary. That is absolutely awesome. Now, obviously, NAFI's been around a long time. How many years?
58 years.
58 years. Yeah. Holy moly. Talk a little bit about, and I think that we've talked about GA safety, we talked about the websites. NAFI is certainly, I would say, a pillar when it comes to GA safety. When you talk about aviation, NAFI has been a pillar. Do you want to touch on that a little bit and talk a little bit about the history, the importance, and maybe the future?
Yeah, well, if we think about it, everyone, it doesn't matter if you're an astronaut, you had initial pilot training with a CFI, right?
Yep.
And there's actually, which you know as a professor, the primacy law, right?
Yep.
What you learn first is embedded. So it's so important to get good.
Foundation.
Yes, it's so important to get good initial instruction because trying to unlearn or layer something new on top of that basic sound foundation becomes problematic.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is make sure that we've got excellence in instruction throughout the industry, even if someone's a flight instructor for only a year and a half while they're building their time to go on to another career. We try to encourage them to be the very best instructor you can be. We offer mentorship. We're very strong advocates. It's one of our mission statements. So the FAA actually comes to us looking for our input because we're so much, the voice of the industry, and always have that instructional. How can we improve what people are learning in order to make them safer?
That's excellent. Now, if someone is interested and they want to talk to you more about this, or maybe, you know what, Karen, we're always trying to get people involved. Maybe they're interested in becoming a flight instructor. Maybe they are interested in being a board member for NAFI. Where are you? Where can they find you? Is there a place here at Sun and Fun? Where can they find you?
Absolutely.
I had to ask.
So,
I set you up for that one.
Yes, thank you very much. We're in Hangar A and we're booth 80, so we're right down the main aisle, halfway down, and it's the coolest hangar we found out this year. So it's a good
cool as in
cool as
temperature.
in a cooling system.
A cooling
Yes.
system, and that is very important. That is absolutely important.
And by the way, anyone can join NAFI. You don't have to be a flight instructor. So one of the things people like to take advantage of is many pilots use ForeFlight. Any NAFI member gets 33% off. So for a lot of people, that more than pays for their membership. And then you have access to, we have an actual publication, we have special interest groups for instructors, we have, of course, all the social media. We actually have a handout of all the benefits. And besides those, we've got a whole page of benefits for actually anyone.
That's all. Karen, where do people go? Can you give us the website? Do you want to go ahead and give us the website? So any one of our viewers, if they're not members, they could go ahead and become a member?
Oh, certainly. The website is www.nafimentor.org.
Okay, NAFI Mentor, www.nafimentor.org.
Right.
And that's something that any one of our viewers could go ahead and then they would have access to all of this material.
Exactly. And for those of you at the show, there is a show special, and we have daily drawings. We have a lot. Yes, we do for members. So if you come and join us, today's daily drawing is a brand new Lightspeed Delta Zulu.
What?
Yeah. In fact, members are all in.
Sign up today.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a quarterly giveaway of a brand new Delta Zulu for members.
Really?
Yeah. We're a good organization.
You are a great organization.
Yeah, you're gonna come and join.
I am. I'm like, Obie's got to let me off so I can come join.
Yeah.
I want to be in the drawing. That's fabulous.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Plus, if anyone wants to talk to a DPE, I was just this morning chatting with people about examination issues, and we're staffed full-time with volunteer CFIs. So any questions about flight instruction, we obviously love to hang your fly day long.
That's awesome. Now, let me ask you a question. How many years have you been coming to Sun and Fun?
Oh, actually, I don't know the full history.
Okay.
For quite a while, though, prior to my tenure, of course.
Okay, okay. Because I was going to, so you've been coming to Sun and Fun for quite a long time. And then will you also have a presence in Oshkosh? So we've got Air Venture coming up, Ben, and we talked about that. That's in July. Will you have a presence there as well?
We actually have a significant presence and even expanding. This year we'll have 2 locations at Oshkosh.
Wow.
Plus what we do here is we have people like me, board members, make presentations. I did one on angle of attack indicators. I did another one on a very tragic accident in which one of my own students was a passenger. So we did an analysis of that, and there's that human impact that people don't tend to, unless it hits you personally, you don't realize that it's not just a cut and dried factual analysis, which we did, but the impact of on the family, on the friends. This happened to be a 16-year-old, so obviously that impacted everyone in her high school, and how many of them then would have wanted to get into aviation.
Right, right.
Anyway, so at AirVenture, we'll have a 40 by 40 tent, which is very close to Show Center. We're right next to Garmin, one block from the Central Plaza, so very close there. And also this year, EAA, in recognition of our interest in safety, and we've been very actively involved with their Pilot Proficiency Center, even before its inception. I was on the actual original organizing group. So they gave us, for our use, their 200-seat indoor theater, air-conditioned comfort, and we'll be doing the full week of educational programming. Now, normally we'd have 28 programs in our own tent, but now we're moving indoors, and then we also have another space there where we'll be able to service members, and again, people can come in throughout the week, talk to CFIs, talk to DPEs, and we'll have additional programming. So we're very happy about that. Two locations to visit us.
No, that is amazing, and we appreciate you being here at Sun and Fun and sharing with us. Let me ask you a question. We have obviously we've got a lot of young people that are here, some that are learning to fly, some that want to go into other areas of airport and airport management. If you had a piece of advice, not only as a professor, as a teacher, but because of your vast, diverse background, what would you say to young people today that are obviously part of the Central Florida Aerospace Academy, that are interested in aviation? What would you say to them, and what would you say to people that, like yourselves, want to go into aviation but might be just slightly older? So what are the two things you would say to them?
Yeah, well, one for anyone initially as you're young and looking for a career, there's a space for you. There is a place for you in aviation. There's so much more than if you're interested in flying aircraft. There's corporate. There's obviously you could do it recreationally. There's a huge industry in recreational flying. Obviously the airlines, that's one key group, but there's a place for everyone. It could be airport administration, management, air traffic control. That's a very exciting career opportunity also. And mechanics, we need more mechanics.
Yes, yes. I had an opportunity to meet Rosie, and we talked a little bit about building mechanics, not just building aircrafts, but building mechanics. Now, what about those people that might be watching or come to Sun and Fun and the bug bites them, but they think themselves, and I hate to use the word, but they think themselves too old?
Yeah, well, I think I'm a good example of that. Remember, I didn't get my certificate till I was 50, which, by the way, I know you're too polite to ask. I'm turning 70 this year.
Wow.
Well, people do turn 70.
Amazing. No, I would have never guessed.
Oh, but I've had initial students in their mid-70s, so it's not too late.
Really?
Okay? So get out there, go to the airport, ask for a discovery flight, and see if it's something you want to do.
And see if you love it. And I promise you the bug will bite. Karen, I want to say you're an extraordinary, just an extraordinary human. You've inspired me not only as an educator, as a teacher, but as a person. Thank you for your passion and for your love of aviation. And thank you for making this so enjoyable. And please come back and see us. And hopefully we will see you at Oshkosh. But my name is Lori Bradner. I am with the Florida Aviation Network. We are celebrating 51 years of Sun and Fun, where we're turning up the fun. That's what I understand. We've had a fabulous weather. We can hear the jets overhead, and we want to invite everyone to come see us here at the Lakeland Linder Airport. Once again, I'm Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network, broadcasting live and in the clear from the Central Florida Aerospace Academy here at Sun and Fun. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you here.